Good evening, Hammond City Council, public hearing, call to order.
Johnny Blunt.
Here.
Jason Hood.
Here.
Bobby Martin.
Here.
Lamar Marshall.
Here.
Mike Williams.
Here.
Public hearing, number one, an ordinance to approve the rezoning request by Mary C. Skinner and Roland Skinner to rezone lots 1 and 2 of the Skinner subdivision from RS-8 to RM-3, located at 619, 621, 623, 625, 627, 629, 631, and 633 Joe Ferris Drive, RZ 2014-8-1. Recommended approval by zoning commission, 3-1 vote. Josh Taylor.
It's a fourplex, well, several apartments right there. It's 4 of them, 4 units total on Joe Ferris Drive. The reason they're here, when they were built, there wasn't an RA zone, which was our previous multifamily zoning. That was created after these apartments were built. So in that process, they've stayed legal, non-conforming all these years, and now they're just requesting to be zoned for what they were built as. So they were built in 94. The zoning came in place in 98. So.
Are there any questions from the audience?
Can we bring the...
Yeah, absolutely. This is the public hearing part, so if you have input, go for it.
Gentlemen, my name is Ryan Falk. I live in the Lakewood subdivision, which adjoins the Skinner development. Fortunately, my neighbor wasn't able to be here tonight with me, but I'm an architect here in town, and I do want to say, well, while I understand the rezoning and its necessity, I'd like to go on record as saying I oppose the RM3 designation simply because for the size of that lot where that development is, RM3 allows up to 3 stories in height. And that's really completely out of scale for the adjoining neighborhood and the entry to that neighborhood. So while I appreciate why they have to get it done, I just wanted to bring that up to y'all's attention.
I have a question. Josh, what happens if it stays as it is? Stays like it is?
It's more for financing. If they want to sell it, banks don't want to finance anything that's non-conforming. So from what I understand,
Yes, I'm Teresa Beckler, I represent the Skinners, we have an attorney, and that has been the problem, is that if we do not have the rezoning, when it comes time for appraisals, it's a red flag. 20 years ago, if it was legal and non-conforming, no one would worry about it. Today, if you don't have every I dotted and T crossed, then you end up with a problem getting your zoning with it become marketable. If they cannot get financing to maintain it and to keep things up, then the buildings do fall into repair because you just don't have what you need to move forward. Ms. Skinner is here tonight, and she can, unequivocally tell you that she has no desire to change the nature of these buildings except to maintain them. I understand the concerns of people. I understand that they don't want something that they feel is out of sync with their neighborhood. These have been there. A lot of the people in the area have come into the area after, and this was what was there when they bought into it. And she's not wanting to change it, and it's simply so that they will not have a problem with financing in the future.
Mr. President, can I ask Ryan a question?
I just wanted to say one quick thing. Yes, it could be built to 3 stories, but the units are limited. It can only have 4 units. So if it went 3 stories, it would only be square footage for the units that it's going on top of. Does that make sense? It would only be a 3rd floor for that unit. They're 2-story units currently. Does that make sense? Like, there are 4 doors that are 2 stories each. So the only way they would be able to go 3 stories would be it's still 4 doors, still 4 units that are 3 stories each. Does that make sense? They're not going to be able to go 12 units, 3 stacked on top of each other. They'll only have 4 units.
So how big is a lot, and can other structures be built on?
Nothing else, it's limited right now because the density on 4 is the maximal amount, 4 units could go there. That's the maximal amount, and that's what's already there.
So I'd like to ask Ryan a question.
Okay, I'm sorry, go
So
ahead.
Ryan, I know you made a comment, and thanks for being here. And obviously, I know the neighborhood is very concerned about the apartments. So if, and I am as well, you know, I mean, we all feel the same way that you do, at least I do. But if your concern is the going from staying at 2 stories versus 3 stories, would you still be opposed to the rezoning?
No, I wouldn't. I mean, we understand that they've been there and they're a fixture there, and that's, everyone bought into the neighborhood understanding that they were there. I think that one of my main concerns is the height, and if they were allowed to go 3 stories, that really wouldn't be acceptable. And I also, one thing I didn't mention, we know that the intent right now is not to do this, but one of the future concerns we have is once that's rezoned, if the neighboring adjoining property were to ever be purchased and rezoned to a multifamily, that they would then increase the whole overall area of the property.
I can, you know, and I'm going to answer that question in a second, but I do want to ask the lawyer another question, if that's okay. And then George can respond to that. I can tell you that there's lots of processes to go through before that would ever happen, and there's no intent from my perspective, and I don't know what the rest of the council would be. I know from Josh, and I've talked about this, there's no intent for us to allow that to become a larger commercial footprint. So if I'm on the council and I'm representing District 4, then I would for surely not support that. Okay?
Right.
I did want to ask the lawyer another question. Your name again was?
Tess Beckler.
Ms. Beckler. So based on Ryan's comment that 2-story limit would allow, he would feel comfortable with that, are you or your clients willing to document that, you know, there will not be a intent to do that?
My client just whispered in my ear that if she had to affirmatively state that she has absolutely no intention of adding any additional floors to the buildings.
So will you be willing to put that in writing?
Absolutely.
Okay. So would that satisfy you, Ryan, if we did that?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's good. So that's, at least that hurdle is out of the way. So with that said, are there any other objections that you might have, Ryan?
No.
Okay, thanks.
Mr. President, could I ask
Yes, come
Josh a question? My name is Louise Foster.
Come to the-
up to the podium.
I just have a simple question. Why could they not?
Come up to the podium.
We have to get it on record.
Please state your name.
All right. My name is Louise Bostic. I live at 112 Elm Drive. I do not live near this property. I have a simple question that occurred to me when Josh was talking. I don't understand why there could not be 4 apartments with stairwells on that 3rd floor.
Because we restrict down the units. You can only have a certain amount of units per square footage of land that you
That
own.
answers my question.
Is there any other comments on that? I just want to say, if I can, Mr. President, Josh, I appreciate you, and, you know, we had a meeting, just, Mr. President, so you can know, we did have a chance to meet in the neighborhood and talk about some of the concerns, and I think that if that issue can be documented, and if Ryan's going to represent the neighborhood and he feels comfortable with that, I think that's a positive thing for this transaction.
Yes, sir. Sounds good.
Number 2, an ordinance to revise section 17-3, smoking in public buildings and public vehicles prohibited. To indicate prohibition of smoking within 20 feet of any city building and allowing for violators to be punished as provided in section 1-8 of the Code of Ordinances. Mayor Foster.
Thank you very much. Currently, the ordinances only indicate that there can be no smoking in city buildings or in public vehicles. We're proposing that we amend this ordinance to prohibit smoking within 20 feet of any city buildings. It's been suggested to us that we consider 20 feet from any entrance of any city buildings, but after consideration, we would like to keep it as 20 feet from the building itself. Be glad to answer any questions.
Is the state law 25 feet, Mayor Foster?
I'm sorry, I don't know.
It's a state law, okay, so it is 20 feet?
Cheryl, do you know?
There is no state law concerning the distance from door or building.
There's a law, it may not be, because I thought that 2 years or 3, maybe even 4 years ago now, that the state passed a law that didn't allow smoking at the entrance of a public building.
That was not addressed in Act 815.
Okay.
Any questions from the audience?
Yes. Thank you, sir. I have the next one also.
Number 3, an ordinance to amend and restate provisions concerning cemeteries in the city of Hammond and amend and restate Chapter 10 of the Book of Ordinances. Mayor Foster.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is a little show and tell. This is primarily concerning Holly Garden Cemetery. In your book, you have a map of Holly Garden Cemetery outlining the different sections, Section A, B, C, D, E, and F of Holly Garden Cemetery. Is it in there, Whitney?
It'll be in there.
You have it? Right now, under the current law, under the current ordinance, Section A, which is outlined in your book, which is the center section, does not allow for above-ground monuments. All of the monuments are supposed to be flat on the ground so that it would be much easier to maintain this property. What's happened over time, and if you go out to Holly Gardens, you can see it, that the ordinance does allow for vases and allows for different things to be put on the monument itself. And so it's become a challenge for our maintenance people to be able to cut around the things that are being put out at Holly Gardens. Jenny Wilson has approached me. Jenny, as you know, is the revenue officer who oversees the cemetery itself. And she has suggested that we consider allowing Section A to be just like all of the other sections to allow above-ground monuments. This would allow us to delete Section A of the current ordinance, which does have a separate fee for the city of Hammond. But the purpose of this is not to collect an additional fee, but just by the elimination of Section A, or the merger of Section A into the other sections, would allow for a slightly higher price for the Section A lots. So with all of that in mind, the administration looked at it, and we do propose that we allow for above-ground monuments and the approval of the ordinance to amend the cemetery section to allow for above-ground monuments in Holly Garden Cemetery.
Any questions from the audience? Number 4, an ordinance to approve of revocation of a 20-foot and 284-feet portion of unimproved Campo Street right-of-way and subdivision of Lot 6, the east 1/3 of Lots 7, 8, 9, and 10 in Block 2, the west 20 feet of previously abandoned Campo right-of-way, and the remaining west 10 feet of the middle 20 feet right-of-way to be abandoned into Lot 6A, Block 2 of the Kenmore addition, and re-subdivision of Lot 1, the west 50 feet of Lots 10, 9, 8, and 7 in Block 3, the east 20 feet of previously abandoned Campo right-of-way, and the remaining east 10 feet of the middle 20 feet right-of-way to be abandoned into Lot 1-A in Block 3 of the Kenmore addition, all in accordance with survey by William J. Bodine, Jr., located at 809 and 813 East Charles Street, Zone RM-2, SDR 2014-9-1, recommended approval by the Planning Commission. Josh Taylor.
There was a extension of Campo that was never improved. It was a 60-foot right-of-way. We actually abandoned 20 foot on either side of it. They went to the property owners, and we retained 20 feet originally for possibility of improvements going through there. This is the revocation of the remaining 20 foot. Utilities are over there. It was agreed that we would never use it, so we're abandoning it and giving half, 10 foot to one owner, 10 foot to the neighbors.
Questions? Any questions from the audience? Okay, you have number 5 too?
I got quite a few going.
Okay. All right, number 5. An ordinance to approve amending ordinance number 12-5321 to add the sale and consumption of high alcohol at a restaurant in an MX-C mixed-use commercial district by Wanda Tillis, owner, and Two Brothers Plaza, occupant, located at 900 Magazine Street, ECU 2014-9-1, recommended approval with conditions by the zoning commission. Conditions: number 1, due to change in ownership, Charles Tillis donated property in its entirety to Wanda Tillis. The ordinance needs to only read Wanda Tillis. 2, adding high alcohol. Josh.
Yeah, when it was originally advertised for the transaction for the ownership hadn't changed yet. They changed it after we advertised, so we needed it to read that for the conditions. They're coming back now asking for high alcohol. They currently have low. They're able to serve beer, but now they're wanting high alcohol. So.
Any questions from the audience? Anyone here to speak on behalf of this? Against? Okay.
Just to be clear for the record, that this only applies to the current owner and the current occupant.
Yeah.
So if ownership change or if occupancy change,
correct, they have to come back here. Well, now occupancy and ownership of occupancy and property are one and the same, so it just needs to read Wanda Tillis. That's why we were saying that.
So Two Brothers Plaza is not the occupant?
Well, it is, but it's Wanda Tillis in and of itself, so. Does that matter?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you can own property individually, but operate it through an LLC or a company.
So if they sell the
and
LLC.
you can change the LLC to company, that's different.
Right.
So the way it's presented, if either Wanda Tillis sells the property, or if Two Brothers Plaza is not occupying the property, then this conditional right expires.
Correct.
And we need to be sure the applicant's aware of that, too.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for that, Andre.
Number 6, an ordinance to approve of expanded conditional use request by Gnarly Barley Brewing, occupant, and Westbrook Hammond, LLC, owner, to allow retail sales in conjunction with the permitted use of a bottling plant in I-L Light Industrial District, located at 1709 Corbin Road, ECU 2014-9-2, recommended approval with conditions by zoning commission. The conditions, with the understanding that such use is a personal right that expires upon a change in occupancy of the property being Gnarly Barley Brewing Company. Josh.
Gnarly Barley, they're a brewing company here in town, and they want to be able to sell the samples of their product at the end of the tour, and also be able to sell, if you want to take some of the product home with you after the tour, you can. And so I spoke with Jenny, and Jenny actually asked that I read what they're currently licensed through the state, so that whenever they come into license with her, it matches what's with the state and listed as conditions. Did you get? It's in your folders.
Prior to the packet.
Right. So I was going to read them just so they're in the record and everything matches. Pursuant to RS 26273C, holders of a valid Louisiana malt beverage manufacturer permit located entirely within the state of Louisiana may obtain a Class A retail permit if the holder of the malt beverage manufacturer permit applies for and meets all qualifications for a Class A retail permit as set out in RS 26271 and 271.2. Class A retail permits issued pursuant to the provisions of this subsection are subject to the following limitations. Manufacturers shall only make retail sales of products brewed by the manufacturer at the brewing facility holding the retail permit. 2, the manufacturer is only authorized to make retail sales at the licensed premises where the malt beverages are brewed. 3, retail sales to visitors of the brewing facility shall only be for personal consumption by said visitors. However, the retail sales may be made to visitors of the facility for consumption on the licensed premise and to visitors in appropriately sealed containers for consumption of off the licensed premises. The total amount of retail sales by the manufacturer for any given month shall not exceed 10% of the total amount of all beverages produced on the licensed premises for that month. The manufacturer shall obtain all local retail permits required by the municipal or parish governing authorities. 6, the manufacturer shall remit all applicable state and local taxes resulting from retail sales made at the licensed premises. A manufacturer holding a retail permit pursuant to this subsection shall comply with the terms of the Louisiana Responsible Vendor Program. And 8, a legal entity holding a malt beverage manufacturer permit shall not be authorized to obtain more than one Class A retail permit. So they have a pretty stringent list of things that they're already abiding by, as you can see. So
I didn't hear you. Did you also say, is there a limit on the amount of consumption on the premise too?
Well, they're limited by 10% of their total sales.
I mean, like, for instance, I've been to places that sell, wine, and then you can taste wine, but they also have limits on the amount that you can consume.
Well, I would imagine so, because only 10% of what they make can be used for that fashion. Does that make sense?
Gotcha.
So yeah, there has to be some limit.
Okay. All right, I was just curious of that. I didn't know what the Louisiana law was.
That's it.
So.
Any questions from the audience? Okay. All right. That's it?
Is that it for me? No, I still got one more.
Got one more? Okay. An ordinance to approve a rezoning request by Windrush Trace Apartments LLC to rezone Site A-1, 7.44 acres of the Windrush Trace Apartment Survey by Raw Associates, Inc., dated, revised 1/3/1994, from RS 11.A to RM-3, located at 414 Windrush Drive, RZ 2014-9-1, recommended approval by Zoning Commission. Josh?
Same identical situation as the previous apartments. They were built prior to the multifamily zoning, and they are here asking for the same request, that their zoning match their usage, and that they become legal conforming, not a non-conformity. So,
Any questions? Any questions from the audience?
thank you.
Okay. Number 8. An ordinance to declare confiscated bikes as surplus and to approve the surplus bikes to be donated to churches and other nonprofit organizations. There are 21 seized bicycles to be issued on a first-come, first-served basis. Surplus bicycles, 21. And you can see them
The public is referred to the agenda.
Mayor Paul.
Mr. Peters is not here, and he has asked me to present this item. And every year about this time, we do go through our bicycles that have been confiscated by the police department or otherwise picked up. Rather than just keeping them out at 190 location, it's much better to get them out into the public and allow them to be utilized by people that can actually use them. In order to do this, we do have to declare these bicycles surplus. And you remember last year, we had like 100. This year, we only have 21, so I guess that's good news. We do recommend approval of this ordinance, please.
Any questions from the audience? Okay, Hammond City Council agenda for regular session. Roll call.
Johnny Blunt.
Here.
Jason Hood.
Here.
Bobby Martin.
Here.
Lamar Marshall.
Here.
Mike Williams.
Okay. Next, please.
We greet you, O God, our Savior and our Creator. We invite you into our presence as we all gather here tonight in the best interests of our community. We thank you for this great community of ours. We thank you for this beautiful day that we have enjoyed in our city of Hammond. We thank you for the men and women who dedicate themselves to serve us, both as elected officials and as keepers of the peace, protectors from fire, those who distribute medical care, those who care for those less in need. We thank you for the gift of volunteer organizations in our community, those good people who give of themselves to enhance the lives of everyone, from the young to the old. We think that you have given us a good and caring, giving community, and for this we are most grateful. We thank you for all the gifts we receive because you are the author of all life and of all giving and all that is good. We pray for peace in a very troubled world. We pray for safety from ravages of diseases. And we pray finally, and one more thanksgiving to the men and women who have defended our nation for all these years and continue to do so. We ask that you bless all of them, even as you bless the citizens of our good city. We pray for these things in the name of the one who saves us. Amen.
Amen. Pastor Manuel, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, any council reports?
Mr. President, I do have one report, just really quick. I want to thank you and the council for allowing me to participate in the training last week, or I guess last council meeting. I was able to be inducted as a White Riley-Peterson Fellow in the after-school policy think tank at Furman University. The governor, former Governor Rowley was there, and he's also was the Secretary of Education under the Bill Clinton administration, and also Dr. Peterson, who was his chief of staff during the time he was Secretary of Education, were all present, and we spent a week with 18 other fellows across the country studying after-school policy and the impact it has on our communities, and it's a year-long commitment, and so I'll be spending the rest of this, the next 11 months focusing on how do we create better policy that really can impact kids in what they call the third space of learning between home, school, and after school. So, and I want to, once again, I know we've said it a lot, but I think it's very important to remind the audience that Mayor Foster was very instrumental in getting our funding for the pilot program, along with the Mark Colway at the school system, at our Tangipahoa Parish school system. So we have a $100,000 of initial funding in the after-school pilot that we're doing in Hammond. And I'm happy to report that on yesterday, I was at the Westside location. We had 42 kids in the after-school. And I don't have the numbers on the St. Paul location that was there. I wasn't there this week, but I know they're doing equally as well. So we're close to having close to 85 kids in the after-school, which means a lot for these kids to be able to have a quality, sustainable after-school. And I think it's going to make a big difference in how they engage in learning in our city. So I appreciate your support on that as well.
Well, we want to thank you for your efforts, and the mayor, and the council, for what you're doing for our citizens. Thank you for your service. Are there any other council reports? Mayor?
I just have two things. First thing is the collection, and we had reported this to the council, collection of video bingo revenues actually it's the first fiscal quarter was $160,000 roughly. That's up 5.59%. Of that, 25% by ordinance goes to the Children's Museum, so they'll receive approximately $40,000. The only other thing I want to announce is that we do have the Cleanest City pickup. Keep Hammond Beautiful. That'll be Saturday at 8 o'clock at the African American Heritage Museum. Right, Mr. Vick?
That is correct. Invite all of you to come out and we're trying to do that whole area. It needs some attention. So. Get your donuts and kolaches.
New business is none. Approval of minutes.
Excuse me for a second, Mr. President. If you don't mind, I'd like for Cheryl Klein, if she can, because we do have an event scheduled for November the 8th, and I know that's not far away. So, Cheryl, if she can just talk about real quick about the Healthy Fest initiative that's going on in the city of Hammond. Are you good? Can you talk about it? Thanks.
Thanks for the heads up. I'm Cheryl Klein. I'm currently co-chair of the Louisiana Healthy Communities Coalition. We're focusing on trying to improve health throughout the region in addressing healthy eating and obesity issues, as well as cancer and tobacco issues. In that regard, we are planning on November 8th a Healthy Fest, which is going to be far more than a health fair. It'll be from 10 to 2 at the Hammond Recreational Center. And immediately before that will be the 5K race that Dr. Finley usually does, focusing on diabetes and exercise. And then we will have booths set up. We will also have screenings, breast cancer screenings with Mary Bird Perkins. Their mobile unit will be on site at the rec center. We'll have many businesses there, organizations with health-related programming. We will have grocery stores that will be bringing items specifically that they feel are the healthy type of foods that they provide through their facilities. There's a list of stuff that I can't remember all, but we would invite all of you to please come and attend and help us get the word out to bring everyone there to get screenings, enjoy some time in learning, as well as doing activities for the children. The Children's Museum will be there. Face painting will be provided by the Hammond
Junior Auxiliary.
Thank you. Junior Auxiliary. And there's just going to be a load of events that we will be able to provide there for the community to come and enjoy, all at no charge, no cost.
What are the times again?
10 in the morning until 2 in the afternoon on Saturday, November 8th. Thank you.
Approval of minutes?
Make a motion to approve.
Second. Johnny Blunt.
Aye.
Jason Hood.
Aye.
Bobby Martin.
Aye.
Lamar Marshall.
Aye.
Mike Williams.
Aye.
Motion approved.
New business, number 1. A resolution to request that Louisiana DOTD Division of Aviation provide funds required to complete the airport improvements at the Hammond North Shore Regional Airport. Jason Ball.
Mr. President, to the council, Mr. Ball did have a football game tonight with his son. I thought he would be back by now, but he's not. So I'll go ahead and talk about this resolution, if I may. Every year, the airport does what's called an AIP, an Airport Improvement Plan. I think each of the council members received an outline of what is in the Airport Improvement Plan. That has not changed. Every year we have to do a resolution to DOTD, Department of Aviation, to indicate that the council has reviewed those projects and are still on board with those projects. So with that in mind, I would like, Jason is on his way here. We can either wait for him to give more explanation, or the council could go ahead and take it up.
But if he's coming, we'll just wait. Since he's coming.
He's on his way, so.
He's on his way. All right. We'll come back to it.
Okay, sir.
Number 2, a resolution to authorize the purchase of SCBA apparatus for Hammond Fire Department in the amount of $248,000 from the low bidder, Bonaventure Fire and Safety. Bid number RFP 15-14, opened on October the 2nd, 2014.
Assistant Chief Leto is going to bring that to the council.
Gentlemen, these monies that we're asking you to spend for us will come out of the millage funds. It's imperative that we have this equipment. The equipment we have now is aged, and we definitely would like for you to go ahead and authorize us to spend these monies.
What was purchased?
SCBA's.
Okay, what is that?
We use this apparatus to go into a burning building. I'm sorry? I'm sorry, say that again?
The breathing apparatus.
Breathing apparatus, yes. Self-contained breathing apparatus, SCBA.
We knew that.
I'm sorry?
We knew that.
Okay, all right.
I'll make a motion to approve item number 2.
Johnny Blunt. Jason Hood. Bobby Martin. Lamar Marshall. Mike Williams. Motion approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Number 3, a resolution to approve Frank D. Victorio to the Board of Directors of the Downtown Development District as nominated by the Hammond Chamber of Commerce. Paul Jones.
Mr. Frank DeVittorio was nominated by the Hammond Chamber of Commerce to replace Charlotte Banks, who has left for other ventures. And he was selected by the DDD board to become the next member. And so we are asking that you approve this nomination and of him as the next board member. Frank is a little bit about Frank. He was born and raised in Hammond. Went to LSU, got his undergraduate, went on to Tulane Law School, graduated, and works for Seal & Ross here locally. So.
Motion to approve.
Johnny Blunt. Jason Hood. Bobby Martin. Lamar Marshall. Mike Williams. Motion approved.
Thank you, sir. Number 4, a resolution to approve a memorandum of understanding between Louisiana Department of Public Safety and Corrections, Office of Motor Vehicle, and the City of Hammond, Parish of Tangible Hall, regarding the establishment of public license tags agents. Barbara Tallow Farkas.
Actually, if I could I jump
Go
in here,
ahead.
Barbie,
Go
if you
ahead.
don't mind? As you recall, last meeting, Councilman Marshall, you weren't here last meeting, but last meeting, we did approve an agreement, or approve the mayor signing an agreement between Auto Title and the City of Hammond. That was contingent upon a memorandum of understanding between the City of Hammond and the state. The state has presented this memorandum of understanding to us. We have reviewed it. Our council has reviewed it. We are in agreement that we are willing to become a tag agent. representing the Public Safety and Corrections Office of Motor Vehicles. And as such, if the council chooses to pass this resolution allowing us to sign this agreement, we will become a third party, we will enter into a contract for a third party agency with Ms. Farkas.
Now, we will still have the DMV as well, right? It will still...
We will not have the OMV as you know it now.
the OMV, right.
Actually, the law requires that the OMV office be located in the parish seat. The parish will have an Office of Motor Vehicles in a meet. The current Office of Motor Vehicles will be a third-party agreement between the City of Hammond and Ms. Farkas. Or actually auto title.
Providing those same services.
Right. Okay, that was a question.
Okay.
So I know you and I talked about it. So all the service will be provided at your location, right?
All the services will be provided at that same location. This location is not going to move.
Right, at the location.
Correct.
Excellent question. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Except for first issue driver's
First issue, and currently, the public tag agents aren't authorized by the state to do first issuance driver's license, but according to the state, they're either going to allow us to do it or provide some means for us to do it, like personnel in that office. That was, well, go ahead.
I think the only thing that you will not be able to handle is the one where you have a DUI or something and people have to be recertified. Is that correct? I don't have the proper terminology.
They told us that they were in meetings about all of that, so they really didn't know exactly whether we could or we couldn't. But there was one that they said they had very few in the course of a year that we may have to forward them on to a state-run office. Right. Right. But that they would let us know that, you know.
Did I understand that there's a difference whether if you get service in a meet versus service here?
I'm sorry, say that again.
The services that you get here, will that cost the same in a meet?
No. Currently today, yes. It's the same thing. Both of those are feed offices, both in Hammond and as well as in a meet.
Wait.
Is that the question?
I think to answer his question, there will be an additional fee that will be charged by the third-party agent.
Correct, and it depends on the service.
It would not be charged by the Office of Motor Vehicles.
Correct.
And if someone chooses to go to a meet, then, the a meet office will be charging the current fees. And they'll be waiting.
So what happens to the funds that, do we have a surplus of funds that we've collected? Because I think maybe a year ago, or maybe 2 years ago, we added a $3 surcharge per transaction, and then we generated funds to pay for mortgage, for the rental. So where are we on that budget?
We keep it. And right now, we have a separate fund that the city has set up, and that fund currently has about $150,000 in it. We still must use that money for maintaining the office, paying the rent. This is the agreement that we have as well. We will continue to collect the $3 fee that we're collecting now as part of that fee that's allowable by state law for the third-party contractor to collect. We will still get that $3. For that, we will agree under the current contract that we have. We have negotiated with the owner of the building. He is in full agreement that we maintain the lease that we currently have, because that is with the city of Hammond, not with the OMV. That money will be used to enhance the office, make it better, make it more secure. We had already moved forward with doing some design work on how it could be redesigned, and this was through the OMV. We'll be working with Ms. Farkas on redesigning that building because it sure needs it. And that money cannot be used for anything other than support of the office maintaining the services that are provided by the OMV or the third-party contractor.
So that part, Mr. Mayor, in the contract on the MOU will not change. We will still be for lack of a better word, have the landlord-tenant relationship between the city of Hammond and the owner of the facility.
That is correct, sir.
Okay.
So a couple questions that were asked from me, my constituents were, and I think we discussed this, but I want to put it on the record, why wouldn't this process open up to other businesses?
I can respond to that.
Or I can.
Because in our discussions with the state, Auto Title was the only full-service agent available in the city of Hammond.
In Tangipahoa Parish.
I'm only worried about the city of
But I
Hammond.
mean, all over, there's some that are allowed just to issue maybe a license plate, but in order to issue driver's license, expedited titles, those type of services require somebody that's been there for a while. I've been in it since the 1990s. So I'm the only one that was really authorized to do it.
And that fact was brought to us by the
department.
The department.
The department.
Yeah, what's the gentleman's name? I forgot.
Steve Campbell.
Yes, Steve Campbell, the head of DMV.
Commissioner.
I'm trying to find out, how long was this agreement for between the city and Ms. Farkas?
It's pretty much an open-end agreement, as I recall.
But the agreement between the city and the state is annual, because that's the way they do all public tag agents. So the agreement with us is for when they, every year.
So kind of go off what Councilman Williams is saying, so is this going to be like a annual awarding? Will we be doing a request every year for a bid, or?
No, I don't think that's contemplated in the agreement. I think it is subject to the subcontractor retaining its public agent's license.
That's correct.
Tag agent license.
That's correct.
If you lose your tag agent license, then the city would go out to get another vendor, so to speak, for that service.
Okay. So can somebody else get another business can get a tag agency license in the city, and then if that was the case, would they be able to bid for the contract?
Well, the state issues those public tag agent licenses.
That's right.
So that would be someone who would have to go to the city to apply for that and obtain that.
The state.
The state.
State, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the state.
I'm sorry, the state. The state issues those, not the city.
I think concern that some of my constituents I spoke to had was that we were in essence creating a monopoly for private businesses. Can I answer? Because there are other public tag agents. There's one right next door to motor vehicle. So and then there's another one down like going towards Nassau. So there's other public tag agents. They're just limited to issuing license plates, not driver's license and expedited titles. And we do electronic liens. We're open to a lot more. My office, when I say we, are open to a lot more services that the state has allowed us to do. Because of the long-term relationship that we've had, they give you more and more, more services. But there's other public tag. There's one right next door.
So other companies could have the same
services, yeah.
Eventually.
I think you raised your hand?
Yes.
She'll come up.
Hi, I'm Donna Chakrin. I'm the public tag agent next to the DMV. And I wrote a letter, I'm sorry, I'm kind of nervous, but I wrote a letter to Mayor Foster. And I was kind of surprised when I saw in a newspaper that the city was contracting with one private business. And yes, she does have the full service. I don't, only because my office physically is small and I can't fit in the cameras to provide the service. However, if I were given that opportunity, like she was given, to be in that space and have a large enough space, I would certainly purchase the camera and go ahead and expand my business. And I was kind of surprised to see that in the paper. For one thing, I've had 3 public tag agent owners come in my office recently. They own business tag agencies elsewhere but nearby, and they're watching this, and they would like to, once the DMV closes, move in and open businesses here in the area, and they are full service also. But they're not going to do it if the city is in agreement with one private business. So it's kind of stemming business from coming in.
I do have one question. And first of all, I did answer your email.
Yes, you did.
Let's make sure everybody understands that. This, you will still be able to operate as a public tag agent, is that not correct?
Well, with something as large as a competition, a private company as large as what this will be, once y'all grant this to her, I'm 15 feet from the DMV's front door. It's going to impact my business negatively. So right now, I'm feeding off of the DMV's business, because when they don't want to wait in line or, it's whatever, they come in my door. But if she's offering the same services that I'm offering, and people are used to being corralled into that location, they're going to go in that location.
Yes. I understand where you're coming from, ma'am. The way I understand it, maybe I misunderstood last meeting. I was under the impression that the state had approached Barbara about taking this over. This is not us going to seek out somebody to do that. Did I misunderstand that?
No, sir, you did not. That is correct. They actually contacted us because I think that this is a movement that you'll see statewide. They're already they're doing this in Baton Rouge now. It's my understanding that they have completely privatized the Baton Rouge area. I have confirmed that they are looking at the Slidell office, and I think you're going to be, because Slidell is not the parish seat either, and I think you're going to be seeing this all over the state, where there is an office that's not located in the parish seat.
Well, let me ask, can I ask another question, Mr. President? So, just curious. So, in your office, I don't remember your name.
I'm Donna.
But in Donna's office, if Donna collects or does a transaction, does Donna also collect a $3 fee?
No, sir, not that comes to us. I think she would still collect the same fee, because I think it's set a law, if I'm not mistaken, or a maximum.
Well, so where does the $3 go in that case?
No, that goes to her office. That's her private money.
Just like
just like my office says today in Southwest Railroad Avenue, it's my private money.
So if the city has added a $3 fee per transaction to all those transactions, and if you're a private business and now you collect that money goes to the city to pay rent, so you don't pay.
That's the agreement between the city, that with the $3 I'll collect, but we're limited to what we can charge. Where she can charge up to $18, I will be only to $15.
I'm limited to the 18, just like she's limited to the 18.
I guess my question is about the real estate part, so the part, because if the $3, if Donna charges the $3, I'm just trying to understand it.
Okay.
If Donna charges the $3, or is she required to charge the $3, that money stays with Donna?
I'm not able to charge $3 extra. I am limited to the 18.
Well, I'm not charging $3 extra either.
Right, we're both limited to the 18, but she's taking $3 out of her.
I'm taking $3 out of what the state allows us to charge and pass it on to the city.
For rent, basically.
Right, or whatever use that is for in that building.
But your $3 that you charge stays with you?
Yes.
The 18 that we charge is my income from my business.
So if I hear that correctly, you're charging 18 and you're charging 15, basically.
Yes.
Am I saying that
Well,
right?
That's
no,
correct.
she's charging 18, but giving us 3.
Right.
That's correct.
So,
Net profit is, or whatever it is, though.
but it is kind of, I have 3 people came in my office who own PTAs who will not come here to do business here because of this situation, because it's kind of a monopoly, so to speak. So it's not, I don't know that it's that good for the public, because when you have a lot of businesses coming in, if I'm in competition with somebody around the corner, I better provide better service. I might even knock down my $18 fee. So that's what's better for the public, rather than having the city or the state have this one business that's the center business.
Her office has been there next door to the motor vehicle. It's there now. It's going to be no difference. It's still there next to a motor vehicle public tag agent, so it's just still next door. The fact that we run a service, if I'm able to go in and reorganize the place and make the lines a lot shorter is the only reason that, people wouldn't go over. If you feed off of the lines of motor vehicle, then it could be a problem if I can shorten the lines. If I can't shorten the lines, they're still going to go over there.
But that's 3 other businesses that would have came here and opened, but they're watching this and they're not. It's the one who has the Baton Rouge office right now. It's the ABC, and it's one who
ABC already
has
came
two.
to me, that's not true.
Well, he came in my office last week, and personally, the general manager did.
Mr. President, that's
and told me.
Yeah.
Is there enough business for both of you?
Well, they're both in it now.
That's not correct.
We're both in it
Again, I
now,
am
and then there's another one.
feeding off of the DMV, whereas the DMV is not going to be there, so I'm not going to be able to feed off of the DMV.
Mr. President, I have one more quick question.
Go ahead.
Can you do everything that Barbara's office can do at this point right now? That's what I'm curious about.
No, I do not have the services that she has, although if I had the space, I could just go and pay for the equipment and start the services that she has.
Well, Jason,
I have a very small office.
There's no state regulations that are stopping you from providing the service. The only thing that's hampering you is the space.
You have to get approval for certain things as electronic liens, electronic
You ask for
expedited
it, and
titles.
they train you, you get the equipment, and you go on.
And you know, the other thing is one of the reasons that it was, I guess, the state, and they told the mayor that their relationship with me is perfect. That was their words. And we run our office right now with more people than are at the motor vehicle. And I believe she's a one-person office.
I am, and I'm not trying to come against Barbara or whatever. I'm just concerned that for the public that this is probably, it might be better to just have businesses come in and have competition and have better services and better pricing than to have one main.
I just have a question for the mayor, if I can. So, Mr. Mayor, if the state's goal is to privatize the whole process, I mean, to Donna's question, I'm just being honest about it, I'm asking a question. How do we then allow for more businesses who might want to be in that space to be in that space if we're kind of almost like sub-selecting the person that
There's nothing that would keep a business from coming in and opening up.
Right.
She does not have a monopoly.
No, the goal is there's still room for other businesses to come in. If other businesses want to come in tomorrow, next year, they can still come. One of the reasons they've, chosen me over, is I have proven record of what I've done for the state. They believe I can go in and I can streamline the place, departmentalize it, and make the lines shorter for the public. As I said, bring in kiosks to where people can just get on their computers and their cell phones, put themselves in line. They don't have to actually physically wait or camp out. And so for those reasons, they feel like I can bring technology in that particular facility and allow the public to have a better experience. And I've done that in my own offices. They've seen my own offices. They call me one of the best in the state. And that's the reason that I'm probably the best candidate for it. But is it going to stop other businesses from coming in? No. Any business can still come in. That's not going to stop them.
I think it will hinder other businesses.
That would be their choice.
3 people came in my office who own PTAs, are watching this, and have told me that if this goes through, they're not going to make an attempt to open businesses.
Well, the whole goal on this, anybody that's been to the Office of Motor Vehicles knows, and because that's where you just said it, that's where you get your business, that people have to wait in there for sometimes hours to get service. And the whole goal of this is to provide public service. And, to provide that service at a little bit additional cost, people are willing to pay for it. And so if other PTAs want to come in, they're welcome.
And that's another issue. I don't think that people really understand that once they hit those doors that used to charge X amount of dollars from the state, is now going to be hit with an extra fee.
I don't agree. I don't agree with that, because that has got to be disclosed to them, and that's one of the discussions that we've had.
Understand
has
that,
got
but I
to be
hear it all the
disclosed to
time.
them when
They'll
they
come
walk
in my
the
door and say, "What? You charging that to cancel a plate?" I'm going to wait for 2 hours at the DMV.
And that's their choice.
But I'm just saying that they're going to be, a lot of them are going to be very surprised when they get here.
Donna, I appreciate you showing up, and what I've told people that were concerned, and actually show up to a public hearing. So what I would respectfully tell you about the other 3 PTAs, they didn't show up. And so people are concerned. I want to hear the public. I want to hear the input. It needs to be done in public at this meeting. And so often, we hear about it after we make a decision, but no one shows up to give us input. So we have to make the decision based on what the information that we have. So I wish that the other public tag agencies would have shown up. And hopefully, we need to hear from the public. If they're more.
I'm the public tag agent. I didn't show up.
Oh, very good.
I am one of the ones she's speaking of.
Does she want to come up and address the council?
You want to address it?
Hello, Council. How are you doing? My name is Brooke Barnett. I'm Baton Rouge. I am the one who actually piloted the program of taking over a state-run office. So as of right now, I think I'm the only one.
No, with Baton Rouge.
That took over a state office so far. Okay, so I'm the only one that's taken over a state office. I am keeping my eye on things, and I'm not here to tell you not to do this. I can share my experience with you. I can share the positives. It has been a large undertaking to walk into a state facility as a private vendor and to take over a state facility, or a state run, I should say, and to charge the additional fee. So there is something I just want you to be aware. I am watching because I am in support of the entire system, what the Office of Motor Vehicles is doing. I think it is improving customer service. I think it can absolutely improve the experience for the customers. I think we have in Baton Rouge. And I think moving forward versus you as an office losing an office, moving forward, losing an OMV in your area with the services, it is critical that you do make a decision, you do move forward, you do keep it in the Hammond area. I think that's very important. I personally have had a great experience. I know Barbara not at all. We kind of bumped into each other we have an organization, the PTA organization. I did come in, I spoke with her a little bit about the situation. How you are going to go about and how you chose, I have no clue. That's what I was actually here to be enlightened on and watch, because I'm very interested in expanding my business throughout other areas across the entire state as the state is looking to do this, because it is lucrative, it is profitable as a PTA to be able to do this. And so that is why I'm showing up, because I am very interested in expanding my business and I want to see how it's working, what your concerns are, how you're going to approach it, and what the decisions made are. And that's the main reason I'm here. I can't really tell you I have any reason to tell you not or to go forward, because I'm a little bit biased, being I am in that situation. I have had that advantage.
May I say that I am absolutely for what the state is doing as far as privatizing. I think that is, imagine that win-win situation. There's no overhead for the state. There's no employees to pay. There's no insurance, none of that. They have the same fees coming in. It opens the door for businesses to open up. Businesses will bring in money, revenue for the city, will employ people. I am absolutely for this, so I want to make that clear as far as that is concerned. I'm just concerned of having that one business, that private business being favored.
Okay. Yes, come up. All right.
Did the state choose you?
Give us your name.
Paul Jones, excuse me. Did the state choose you or no? How did that work? Because you're saying the state chose them. The state came to Ms. Farkas or came to you and said, we want her to be the person, correct?
Right, that's what they said.
That she become the, yes. So did the state choose you guys, or?
The state did not choose me. I actually was opening a PTA in the Baton Rouge area and had found out that the state was looking at these different possibilities and programs, and I actually knew the landlord of the building that they were in, similar to knowing you are technically the landlord of the building, and I negotiated a deal, which it sounds like, from what I've learned tonight, purely what I learned tonight is the same scenario, negotiated a deal to be able to stay in that location versus opening a location elsewhere, to make it simple, to make it easy for all the constituents so that they know where they're going. It's the same facility, same services, same area, to make it as easy as possible.
Yeah, it seems like it's a state issue. Like the state chose, it's not, they figured they had a great person in her office and they said, okay, we have a great thing, it's working, let's approach her about it. And it seems like a
great point. Thank you.
This is a state issue.
Okay. Anyone else?
Thank you.
Okay, let's go back to.
We need a vote on this, Mr. President.
We need a vote.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Johnny Blunt. Jason Hood. Bobby Martin. Lamar Marshall. Mike Williams. Motion approved.
We're going to go back to number 1 under new business, a resolution to request that LADOTD, Division of Aviation, provide funds required to complete the airport improvements at the Hammond North Shore Regional Airport. Jason Ball.
Good evening, and first of all, let me say thank you very much for allowing me to do what I had to do. This plan, as you can see, was in your folder. If you want to take a look, it's the same plan that we approved last year. However, things have just moved up 1 year. This shows you in 2015. We've actually, let me start. 2014-15, we have a drainage project that's out for bids right now. That took care of the number 1 item from last year. So this just moves everything up 1 item. And you can see for the next 5 years what we have planned. We did have to split up the runway rehabilitation project to design and construction in 2 phases. Other than that, there's really no changes. If you have any questions, I'd love to answer. It shows you how the funding sources are. This is funded solely by 2 agencies, the FAA and the state. Some projects are state only, some are split FAA and state. We get the $150,000 entitlement money every year from the FAA. Sometimes we bank it every year to do a larger project in the coming years, and that's how it goes.
Jason, Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
Jason, for the record, may I ask you this question, please? Have any of the projects changed in terms of funding from last year's plan?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Just want to get that in the record. Mr. Coutre.
Yes, sir. Like I said last time, that you can see the total amount of money that we're requesting is close to $9,000. I mean, $9 million, sorry. Different comma. The $9 million for a GA airport, that's, a lot of money, but the state is behind us 100% in backing every project. You can't just list projects like a wish list and just say, hey, I want to do a $10 million this. They won't approve it. So we work very hard on planning our projects in a certain way. And for us, if this goes forth and gets approved and funded for GA Airport, that's unheard of, and it's great. It's excellent for Hammond.
Motion approved.
Johnny Blunt. Jason Hood. Bobby Martin. Lamar Marshall. Mike Williams. Motion approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Did you win?
New coach.
Wasn't me.
Final adoption of ordinance, non-old business, number 1. Final adoption of an ordinance to approve the rezoning request by Mary C. Skinner and Roland Skinner to rezone Lot 1 and Lot 2 of the Skinner subdivision from RS-8 to RM-3, located at 619, 621, 623, 625, 627, 629, 631, and 633 Joe Farris Drive, RZ 2014-8-1.
Mr. President, we'd like to amend that, if we can, if that's appropriate, to read that we approve of the motion contingent upon the owner signing a letter that would state that the current structure would not, or any future adjustments to the structure would not exceed the current footprint as far as the height of the facility.
Johnny Blunt. Jason Hood. Bobby Martin. Lamar Marshall. Mike Williams. Motion to amend approved.
Motion to approve.
Johnny Blunt. Jason Hood. Bobby Martin. Lamar Marshall.
Aye.
Mike Williams. Motion approved.
New business. Number 1, final adoption of an ordinance to revise Section 17-3, smoking in public buildings and public vehicles prohibited, to indicate prohibition of smoking within 20 feet of any city building and allowing for violators to be punished as provided in Section 1-8 of the Code of Ordinances.
So moved.
Second.
Johnny Blunt. Jason Hood.
Aye.
Bobby Martin.
Aye.
Lamar Marshall.
Aye.
Mike Williams. Motion approved.
Number 2, final adoption of an ordinance to amend and restate provisions concerning cemeteries in the city of Hammond and amend and restate Chapter 10 of the Book of Ordinances.
So moved.
Second.
Johnny Blunt. Jason Hood. Bobby Martin.
Aye.
Lamar Marshall. Mike Williams. Motion approved.
Number 3, final adoption of an ordinance to approve a revocation of a 20 feet by 284 feet portion of unimproved Campbell Street right-of-way and re-subdivision of Lot 6, the east third of Lots 7, 8, 9, and 10 in Block 2, the west 20 feet of previously abandoned Campbell right-of-way, and the remaining west 10 feet of the middle 20 feet right-of-way to be abandoned into Lot 6A, Block 2 of the Kenmore addition, and re-subdivision of Lot 1, the west 50 feet of Lots 10, 9, 8, and 7 in Block 3, the east 20 feet of previously abandoned Campbell right-of-way, and the remaining east 10 feet of the middle 20 feet right-of-way to be abandoned into Lot 1-A in Block 3 of the Kenmore addition, all in accordance with survey by William J. Bodine Jr., located at 809 and 813 East Charles Street, Zone RM-2, SDR 2014-9-1.
Second.
Johnny Blunt. Jason Hood. Bobby Martin. Lamar Marshall. Mike Williams. Motion approved.
Number 4, final adoption of an ordinance to approve amended ordinance number 12-5321 to add the sale and consumption of high alcohol at a restaurant in an MX-C mixed-use commercial district by Wanda Tillis, owner, and Two Brothers Plaza, occupant, located at 900 Magazine Street, ECU 2014-9-1, recommended approval with conditions by the zoning commission.
So moved. Second.
Johnny Blunt. Jason Hood. Bobby Martin. Lamar Marshall. Mike Williams. Motion approved.
Number 5, final adoption of an ordinance to approve of expanded conditional use request by Gnarly Barley Brewing, occupant, and Westbrook Hammond LLC, owner, to allow retail sales in conjunction with the permitted use of a bottling plant in I-L Light Industrial District, located at 1709 Corbin Road, ECU 2014-9-2, recommended approval with conditions by zoning commission. Condition with the understanding that such use is a personal right that expires upon a change in occupancy of the property, being Gnarly Barley Brewing Company.
Motion to approve. Second.
Johnny Blunt. Jason Hood. Bobby Martin. Lamar Marshall. Mike Williams. Motion approved.
Mr. President?
Yes, sir.
Could we recognize Zach and Carrie that have been here for 2 meetings?
Yes.
They are the owners of Gnarly Barley.
Yes.
And somebody was talking earlier about bringing new businesses. Well, I can tell you, they brought a fantastic new business into this community. So I just wanted to say thank you all for
appreciate it.
what you're doing, and keep growing.
Thank you.
We'll keep growing.
Number 6, final adoption of an ordinance to approve a rezoning request by Windrush Trace Apartments LLC to rezone Site A-1, 7.44 acres of the Windrush Trace Apartments survey by RAH Associates, Inc., dated revised 1/3/1994, from RS-11.A to RM-3, located at 414 Windrush Drive, RZ 2014-9-1.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Johnny Blunt. Jason Hood. Bobby Martin. Lamar Marshall. Mike Williams. Motion approved.
Final adoption of an ordinance to declare confiscated bikes as surplus and to approve the surplus bikes to be donated to churches and other nonprofit organizations. There are 21 seized bicycles to be issued on a first-come, first-served basis.
Second.
Johnny Blunt. Jason Hood. Bobby Martin. Lamar Marshall. Mike Williams. Motion approved.
Introductions of ordinance and set of public hearing. 1, introduction of an ordinance declaring property having Hammond municipal address of 111 Short Street, Hammond, Louisiana, previously adjudicated to the city of Hammond for unpaid taxes as need for a valid public purpose and providing for related matters.
Motion to introduce.
Second.
Johnny Blunt. Jason Hood. Bobby Martin. Lamar Marshall. Mike Williams. Motion approved. Public hearing is set for November 3rd, 2014.
Hang on one second. Does that give us time, Andre?
Doesn't give us 2 weeks.
November 3rd.
It's 2 weeks, isn't it?
Yeah, that's missed by a day, so we have to do it the next meeting.
We have to do it the following.
Yeah, I think so, because it requires publication.
Change that to the,
I know we changed it for the city of Hammond. You can, it's in 3 separate weeks, but I think it has to be over 2 full weeks.
We can still have the public hearing on the 3rd, we can't. And we just.
so I think we should just go to the next day.
Yeah, if that's okay. Mr. President, is that okay?
Yes, sir.
So that would be 18th.
November 18th.
Is that okay, Whitney?
November 18th is a public hearing. Got it.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.